Feel free to subscribe to the channel if you enjoy the content here, it'd mean a lot. In a continuation of my focus on airlines and their current situation within the industry, I thought I'd turn to American Airlines, an airline that is rich in history and one that has had its many ups and downs. However, as we approach 2025 and therefore the midway point of the decade, sorry for repeating that because trust me it's scary to say, what is happening at this esteemed company and what is there to look forward to, what challenges are it currently facing and more. American Airlines is making some pretty big strides towards the modernization of its fleet with next generation aircraft, specifically in the MAX and A321neo series. The consistent nature of new aircraft deliveries, even despite their associated delays well into the future, will ensure that American Airlines believes it can benefit from these efficiencies and have enough new gen planes coming in to be able to have the right amounts of capacity across its network. It'll also be able to move forward with more cost-effective operations. Typically, these newer planes will also result in higher satisfaction levels among customers. While this won't always be the case, it is something I want to cover a little bit later in this video. The upcoming introduction of the A321XLR is a fantastic moment for American Airlines, as this will open up fresh opportunities across their network. The XLR, known for, you guessed it, its extended long-range capabilities, will enable the airline to serve transatlantic routes and other extended sectors, previously not viable with narrow-body jets. The aircraft offers greater flexibility and really, to generalize, can bridge the gap between narrow bodies and wide bodies, easing pressures right across the fleet. With so much focus on the fleet, that fleet will enable the route network to be enriched. American Airlines' network strategy is something that's been discussed among industry experts, bloggers, and aviation enthusiasts for such a long time. Critics will often point out that American Airlines has lagged behind competitors like that of Delta and United Airlines in establishing a route network that really reflects its stature within the industry. Instead of following in the footsteps of your Delta and United, American has relied more on partnerships and even alliances to facilitate travel to other locations it does not necessarily serve with its own aircraft, which I feel is essential to note because its competitors will offer a direct service whereas they will not. While this strategy obviously has its advantages, such as being able to leverage partner networks and therefore seeing a bit of a risk reduction for its own operations, many have challenged those positives, saying it simply still doesn't put American on the expected level that it should be at. Why do I mention that? Well, because the A321XLR, according to some, could address some of these criticisms. By utilizing this aircraft, American Airlines can expand its network, offer direct flights to new destinations on a single aisle with the extra long range. But even more so, if they wanted to deploy the XLR to an existing market, that could free up a wide body or another aircraft that then could be deployed to a new destination, having the potential to make this company a little bit more competitive in the medium haul sector. American Airlines' on-board experience, particularly in economy class, has often been critiqued as well for falling short. It's not just in this cabin, but given this is the primary location for most passengers, it'll often receive the most torque. This torque extends higher up as well, it must be mentioned. But for instance, let's take a look at the economy class on their Boeing 787s, which has been noted for its limited legroom and pitch, making long-haul flights less than comfortable. In fact, I've flown American Airlines, and while you might not care, and I basically never go into my opinion, I thought I'd pitch in for this part of the segment on American Airlines. Honestly, I've had the pleasure of flying many airlines long haul and many aircraft products, and with 95% plus of these being in economy, the American Airlines 787 experience was horrendous. I was lucky, I had a couple of seats next to me to stretch out, and I'm not usually one to complain, but this stuck out like a sore thumb. And I knew personally the minute I got off that plane, I'd avoid American Airlines 787 product from that point and be wary on others too. And this sentiment is felt elsewhere and by many other people. It puts forward the question, why fly with them when there are other alternatives? Maybe it's the loyalty program or something else. You can let me know down below in the comments. This perception that many have of a subpar onboard experience can also be attributed because of management's approach, where they focus focus on maximizing capacity rather than putting a lot of emphasis on the passenger comfort levels. This strategy obviously has some benefits, such as optimizing revenue, but in the end, you then see a lack of cohesion across the fleet, from single aisle to wide body to everything in between. Passengers will experience varying degrees of comfort and even service, which rounds up to quality, depending on the aircraft type and depending on where they are flying to, and many don't believe this is suitable now, pointing again to management that needs to focus more on the people that are flying on the planes. However, there are some signs that American Airlines is recognizing the issues and taking the steps to improve, and they wouldn't be the only airline. Look to German flag carrier Lufthansa, who have received their fair share of criticism in the last few years, many believing their service is no longer up to standard, and the company is investing millions into the retrofitting of aircraft and introducing new cabin products. And while some would argue this is too late, it's better late than never at the end of the day. We'll see American Airlines introducing new seats and trying to work towards putting a greater focus on the cabin product in the years ahead. But for the moment, that's in the years ahead. American Airlines employees are also some that often feel the brunt of the airline's operational issues that I've touched on, even strategic ones. Reports from contacts within the airline highlight a sense of frustration due to that focus on maximizing the assets, and employees may feel that this trickles down to customer satisfaction levels dropping. These are two crucial areas that can't be ignored, whether it is customer satisfaction or it is employees, and that internal dissatisfaction really will have a knock-on effect on many areas of the business and will paint a telling picture of the quality of life within the airline compared to others. Passengers notice these things, most evident through those that travel with the airline and compare it to other experiences, really noticing the employees. Americans' workforce challenges are more than apparent, but when you look at them, it has been a long-standing issue, and for the major US airline, there are many different issues, but there are also many positives. This is a major US airline that knows its role within the aviation industry, and there's a lot of exciting things to take a look at in the future. I'd argue from an aviation enthusiast perspective, and one that won't necessarily be flying them, it's the fleet, with the addition of new aircraft opening up new possibilities, and it is that development of the network as well. How are they going to look towards the future? Maybe you see the sustainability initiatives as a really important focal point that they need to be investing in now for the future. Or maybe you're more in the camp where you'll be critiquing management and believe they haven't put enough emphasis on the consumers. Wherever you stand, you can let me know down below in the comments. A fantastic place to really get in detail about your opinions on this airline. Thank you very much for your support here on the channel. If you'd like me to take a look at some other issues occurring at other airlines, whether it is pros or cons, you can let me know also down below. Thank you very much for your support here on the channel. Do take care, do be safe, and I'll see you in a couple of days for your latest aviation analysis. And we'll fly.